All right, what's up, Canada? So, big news last week was, of course, Canada signing the Trans-Pacific Partnership. A historic deal, the largest in history, encompassing about 40% of the world's GDP. By now, you may have heard a lot about which industries will be negatively affected by this deal, but out here in BC, this is truly a big win. British Columbia is Canada's connection to the Pacific Rim, and with an already booming and bustling port of Vancouver expected to see a dramatic increase in imports and exports, this deal has people here excited. Our struggling and stagnant mining and metals industry will finally get tariff-free access to emerging and lucrative Asian markets. This deal is set to include petroleum products, and as BC inches closer to being an LNG exporter, this is further good news. Overall, this deal was widely welcomed as positive by economists. That is, unless you believe what the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives is saying, but I do digress. Now, with more on the political ramifications about this deal, let's bring Rebel Media contributor Marc Schenker. All right, I'm now here with Rebel contributor Marc Schenker talking about the TPP that was signed this week by Canada and the political ramifications that go along with it, as we are here in the last 2 weeks of an election campaign. Specifically, Marc, let's talk about the Conservatives. They signed this deal. Stephen Harper touts his record on the economy. This seems to be his thing. How does this benefit the Conservatives here in the last 2 weeks?
It benefits the Conservatives in the last 2 weeks because if you look at a CBC Voter Compass poll from October 6th, you actually have 39.2% of Canadians agreeing that it's actually a net benefit for Canada overall, whereby only 23% think that it's not a good deal for Canada. Furthermore, Stephen Harper already mollified a lot of his, dairy farmer and auto worker critics by pledging $4.3 billion over a few years to the dairy farmers and $1 billion to the auto workers over the next 10 years.
Yes, definitely seems like he's willing to do what it takes to keep those industries happy. Let's go on to the Liberals now. Justin Trudeau, he's kind of playing the balancing act of trying to oppose everything Stephen Harper does, but also pacify maybe some, more economic, fiscally conservative parts of his party. Where does he stand on it, and what's his party doing?
Well, his party's actually in an embarrassing situation the way I read it, because publicly he understands that the TPP is good for Canada, but unfortunately he's beholden to a lot of union interests, especially auto workers in the in some southern Ontario ridings. So while he publicly claims to actually be pro-TPP, he actually won't let his own members have a free vote on the TPP, likely because he's afraid that a good number of them will vote for it, which will be even more embarrassing for him.
Interesting enough, they came out this week and actually said that they were for free trade. Something they weren't actually for was NAFTA. Anyway, moving on now to the NDP. Thomas Mulcair sliding in the polls, seems a bit desperate. Where does he stand on this?
Well, Mulcair probably is the one who is in the least favorable position of all three parties, simply because he's probably around 20% nationally, or his party is. And as he has been sliding down in the polls in the last month or so, he's gotten a bit more vicious on the campaign trail. So a couple of days ago, he had an event whereby he basically accused Harper of being played like a chump during TPP negotiations. Which we know isn't true, because the reports were it could be up to 15% of the supply management that they would have to give up, when really they only gave up 3 1/4. Doesn't sound like he got played by like a chump. Sounds like he dealt a hard bargain, didn't he? I definitely agree. And when you also look at Mulcair's accusation against Stephen Harper and his broader opposition to the TPP in general, it doesn't even seem like he's his own politician. He's basically copying Hillary Clinton's anti-TPP stand from the States. And so basically, if you're Mulcair, why not come up with your own Canadian opinion as to why you don't like the TPP and keep, American politics out of the Canadian federal election? All right, well, that's been Marc Schenker, and I'm Christopher Wilson here at A Break in the Rain in soggy Vancouver. We'll see you next time, Canada.
Ow! We're building a studio. Help us out. Click here or visit BuildTheDream.ca.